Adam Collins stared at the monitor in disbelief. The pattern was unlike anything he had ever seen before. For the past 15 years, he had worked at SETI analyzing signals from space, hoping to find proof that humanity wasn't alone in the universe. Now, on a quiet Tuesday morning in May 2087, that proof glowed on his screen. "Lisa, you need to see this," he called to his colleague without taking his eyes off the display. Lisa Mitchell walked over from her workstation, coffee mug in hand. She leaned forward, her brow furrowed as she studied the waveform. "That's not natural," she said after a moment. "The pattern repeats too perfectly." Adam nodded. "It's coming from Alpha Centauri. I've checked it 3 times already." Lisa set down her mug and began typing rapidly on Adam's keyboard. "Let me run it through the new decoder algorithm." The computer hummed as it processed the data. Both scientists held their breath. 5 minutes later, text began appearing on the screen. It was in perfect English. "Greetings, people of Earth. We are the Galactic Council, a union of 127 spacefaring species. We invite you to join our community of peaceful civilizations. Coordinates and time for your representative's arrival are included below." Adam and Lisa looked at each other, their faces pale. "We need to call the president," Lisa whispered. 3 days later, the Oval Office was filled with the world's most powerful people. Military leaders, scientists, and politicians from every major nation sat in tense silence as President Olivia Carter reviewed the full message from space. "They're offering us membership in some kind of interstellar United Nations," she said finally. "And they're sending transport in 1 week." General Eric Mason frowned. "It could be a trap. We should decline, and risk offending a group with technology advanced enough to contact us from 4 light years away," asked the Chinese premier. "That would be unwise." Dr. Frank Watson, the leading xenobiologist, spoke up. "The real question is why now? We've barely set up our Mars and Europa bases. We're hardly a galactic power." President Carter stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the Washington Monument in the distance. "Whether we're ready or not, the choice is before us. We need to send representatives." After hours of debate, they selected 3 people for the mission. Ambassador John Perry had 30 years of diplomatic experience and was known for his calm demeanor. Dr. Samantha Wells was Earth's foremost expert in linguistics and communication theory. General Eric Mason was added despite his caution, or perhaps because of it. "Your mission is to learn everything you can about this Galactic Council," President Carter told them during their final briefing. "Determine their true intentions. Make no binding agreements without consulting Earth. Remember, you represent not just your countries but our entire species." 1 week later, a sleek silver craft appeared in orbit exactly where the message had said it would. It was barely larger than a bus, with no visible engines or weapons. "Unidentified craft. This is International Space Station Alpha. Please identify yourself," the station commander said. A soft voice replied, "This is Galactic Council Transport Vessel 347. Here to collect the Earth delegation as arranged." 3 hours later, John, Samantha, and Eric boarded a shuttle to the alien craft. The interior surprised them. It looked almost like a luxury Earth hotel, with chairs, beds, and even a kitchen area that seemed designed based on human standards. "They've been watching us," Eric whispered. A screen lit up on the wall. "Welcome, Earth representatives. We have prepared this vessel for your comfort based on your broadcast signals. The journey to the Council Station will take 3 standard days. The navigation is automated. Please make yourselves comfortable." As the craft detached from the station and accelerated to impossible speeds, the 3 humans looked at each other. None of them spoke the question on all their minds. What had humanity gotten itself into? On Earth, billions watched their departure on live streams, a mixture of hope and fear in their hearts. The stars, once just distant lights, now held beings who had reached out to humanity. Whether as friends or something else remained to be seen. The small ship glided through space with no sense of movement. Inside, John Perry floated to one of the round windows and looked out at the stars. Without Earth's atmosphere, they were perfect bright points against absolute darkness. "It's beautiful," he said softly. Samantha Wells joined him at the window. "I never thought I'd travel faster than light. According to the ship's data, we're moving at roughly 50 times light speed." Eric Mason was across the cabin, examining what appeared to be a computer terminal. "I found something," he called to the others. "This seems to be a library of information about the Galactic Council." The three gathered around the screen as Eric navigated through files. Images of strange beings flashed by, some with multiple limbs, others that seemed to be made of gas or crystal. Text scrolled alongside the images, translated into perfect English. "The Council was founded 50,000 years ago." Samantha read aloud. "The founding members were the Skiteri, the Mithrans, and the Phosians." John pointed to another section. "Look at this. The Council operates by complete consensus. All decisions require unanimous agreement from all member species. That's impressive for an organization with 127 members." Eric frowned. "Or concerning. How do they handle disagreements?" They spent hours reading through the data. The Galactic Council had expanded slowly, carefully integrating new species one at a time. Their technology allowed them to travel between stars with ease, create artificial worlds, and extend lifespans for centuries. Violence between member species was virtually unknown. "There's something odd here," Samantha said on the second day. "Many sections mention pre-integration supervision of new species, but the details are vague." Eric nodded grimly. "And notice how many references there are to stability and harmony, but almost none to freedom or independence." John sighed. "Let's not jump to conclusions. We're seeing everything through human perspectives." On the third day, the ship announced their approach to the Council station. The three humans strapped themselves into chairs as the vessel slowed. Through the windows, they saw it, a massive structure orbiting a blue-green planet. The station was shaped like a wheel with spokes extending from a central hub. It was easily 10 miles across. "The planet below is Proxima Centauri," the ship's voice informed them. "The Council station houses representatives from all member species and serves as the primary meeting location." Their ship docked at one of the spokes. The door slid open to reveal a wide hallway with high ceilings. The air smelled slightly sweet, like cinnamon. Three beings waited for them. One looked like a giant insect with 6 limbs and compound eyes. Another seemed to be a shifting cloud of purple gas contained in a transparent suit. The third was humanoid in shape, but appeared to be made of semi-transparent crystal that glowed from within. "Welcome, humans," the insect-like being said, its mandibles clicking as it spoke. "I am Ambassador Skito of the Skiteri. With me are Representative Myth of the Mithrans." The gas cloud pulsed. "And Elder Phos of the Phosians." The crystal being inclined its head. "We are honored to meet you," John replied, stepping forward. "I am Ambassador John Perry. These are my colleagues, Dr. Samantha Wells and General Eric Mason." "Please follow us," Skito said. "The Council awaits you in the Grand Chamber." As they walked, other aliens stopped to stare at them. Some looked almost human, with 2 arms and legs. Others were utterly alien. Floating orbs of light, serpentine creatures that slithered along the walls, beings that seemed to shift in and out of visibility. "How many species are currently on the station?" Samantha asked. "Representatives from all 127 council members are present for your arrival," Myth replied, its voice somehow emerging from the gas cloud. "This is a significant occasion. It has been 300 years since a new species was invited to join." They entered a huge elevator that carried them up one of the spokes toward the central hub. Through glass walls, they could see the entire station rotating slowly, creating artificial gravity. "The Grand Chamber is just ahead," Elder Phos said as the elevator stopped. Its voice was like crystal chimes. "The full council has gathered to greet you and explain why Earth has been contacted at this time." The doors opened to reveal a massive circular room with tiered seating rising up on all sides. Hundreds of alien beings of every imaginable form turned to look at the humans. Eric whispered to his companions, "Remember, we represent all of humanity now." They stepped forward into the chamber, the first humans to stand before the assembled power of the galaxy. The grand chamber fell silent as John, Samantha, and Eric walked to the center of the room. A platform rose beneath their feet, lifting them so all could see. The walls of the chamber were lined with hundreds of viewing areas, each containing representatives of different alien species. Some areas were filled with water, others with strange gases or extreme temperatures, allowing all species to observe in their natural environments. A large beam moved forward from the highest tier. It had 12 limbs that shimmered with iridescent scales. 4 eyes on stalks swiveled independently to look at the humans. "I am Elder Voxun, Senior Council Member," it said, its voice deep and resonant. "For 50,000 years, I have guided the addition of new species to our collective. Humans of Earth, we welcome you to the Galactic Council Station." John stepped forward. "On behalf of Earth, we thank you for this invitation. We are honored to be here." Elder Voxun's limbs rippled in what might have been approval. "You were contacted because your species has reached a significant technological threshold. Your first antimatter reactor, though primitive, signals your readiness for consideration." Screens appeared around the chamber, showing images of Earth's cities, space stations, and the new antimatter facility in Antarctica. "However," Voxun continued, "we must address concerning aspects of your species." New images appeared: wars, weapons tests, environmental damage. "In our observations spanning your entire recorded history, we note that humans display unusual aggression, create weapons with disturbing efficiency, and advance technology at rates significantly faster than any known species." Samantha felt her face grow hot. Eric stiffened beside her. John maintained his diplomatic composure. "All species have violent histories," John said carefully. "We have made great progress toward peace." A crystal being from one of the lower tiers spoke up. "Your species reached nuclear weapons only 200 years after discovering basic electricity. Most species take thousands of years for such advancement. Your rate of technological development is unprecedented and deeply troubling." Murmurs spread through the chamber in dozens of different languages. Elder Voxun raised several limbs for silence. "This brings us to the true purpose of today's gathering. The Council has deliberated extensively about Earth. We offer you 2 options." The chamber grew even quieter. First option: Earth may join the Council as a supervised member. This requires complete disarmament of all military forces, Council oversight of all technological development, and placement of monitors on your world to ensure compliance. After a probationary period of 500 years, these restrictions may be reconsidered. Eric clenched his fists. Samantha placed a warning hand on his arm. Second option, Voxun continued, "If Earth refuses supervision, we will implement containment protocols. A barrier will be erected around your solar system. No human vessel will be permitted to leave, and no communication will penetrate the barrier. This containment would remain in place until the Council unanimously agrees your species has evolved beyond its dangerous tendencies." Gasps escaped from all 3 humans. "You're giving us a choice between surrender and prison," Eric said, his voice tight with anger. Voxun's eye stalks turned toward him. "We are giving you a choice between peaceful integration and necessary isolation. The Council has never encountered a species that combines your level of aggression with your rate of innovation. You present an unacceptable risk to galactic stability." A gaseous being floated forward. "Please understand, this is not punishment. It is protection, for both the Council and for humanity itself. Your technological path, unchecked, leads toward weapons that could destroy entire star systems." John stepped forward again. "We need time to consider these options and consult with our government." "Of course," Elder Voxun said. "You have 1 rotation of this station, approximately 24 of your Earth hours. to provide your answer. Quarters have been prepared for your delegation." As the platform lowered, Samantha noticed something in the eyes of some of the newer council members, something that looked almost like shame. The three humans were led from the chamber in silence, each lost in thought about the impossible choice before them. Their quarters were comfortable but clearly monitored. As soon as they were alone, Eric spoke what they all were thinking. "This isn't a negotiation. It's an ultimatum." Inside their quarters, the three humans gathered around a small table. Eric paced back and forth while John sat with his head in his hands. Samantha examined the walls and ceiling carefully. "They're definitely listening to us," she whispered. Eric nodded. "This is insane. They want us to give up our weapons and let them control our technology, or they'll lock us in our own solar system like animals in a zoo." "We need to think clearly," John said. "What are our real options here?" Samantha sat down next to him. "I've been reviewing the council archives they gave us access to. There's something strange. In 50,000 years, there's not a single record of any species refusing membership." "Maybe the records are incomplete," Eric suggested. "Or maybe no one has ever said no," Samantha replied. "What if this choice is just a formality? What if every species simply accepts supervision because they're too afraid to refuse?" John frowned. "That would explain the shame I saw on some of their faces." While the delegation debated, back on Earth, scientists and leaders worked frantically to understand the situation. All data from the delegation's journey had been transmitted back through a quantum-entangled communication device that General Mason had secretly brought aboard. In a secure room beneath the White House, Dr. Nicole Rodriguez studied the Council's patterns of behavior. As Earth's leading expert in game theory, she had been asked to analyze the Council's strategy. "They're risk-averse to an extreme degree," she explained to President Carter and the gathered world leaders. "Their entire system is based on absolute prevention of potential threats, not on actual evidence of hostile intent." "Can we use that?" asked the German Chancellor. Nicole nodded slowly. "They've never encountered a species that simply refuses to play by their rules. Their entire strategy assumes we'll choose one of their options." Back on the council station, John had requested a private meeting with representatives from newer council members. To his surprise, the request was granted. In a small meeting room, he sat across from three beings: a reptilian creature named Sleth, a floating orb of blue light called Orla, and a furry, six-eyed being known as Vex. "We speak unofficially," Sleth hissed quietly. "The elder races do not know of this meeting." "How is life under council supervision?" John asked directly. The three aliens exchanged glances. "Restrictive," Orla flickered. "My species has been a member for only 800 years. We are still under technology restrictions. Our scientists must submit all research for approval." "Same for us," Vex added, its fur rippling. "We've been members for 3,000 years, but still cannot build certain engines or energy systems without permission." "Has any species ever challenged the Council's authority?" John asked. Sleth's forked tongue flicked out nervously. "Never directly. Some try to hide research or develop forbidden technology in secret. When discovered, the punishment is severe, usually reduced to observer status for centuries. You must understand," Orla's light dimmed, "the elder races truly believe they are protecting the galaxy, but many newer members wonder if there might be another way." John thanked them and returned to his colleagues with this valuable information. Meanwhile, Samantha had made a discovery while examining the Council's archives on human history. "They've been watching us for thousands of years," she told Eric, pointing to records dating back to ancient Egypt. "But they're completely baffled by our rate of development. Listen to this. Humans advanced from basic flight to moon landing in 66 years, a pace 10 times faster than any known species." Eric smiled for the first time since arriving. "They're afraid of us." When John returned, they shared their findings. The situation was clearer now. The Council's ultimatum came from fear, not malice. They hadn't encountered a species like humans before, and didn't know how to handle the potential risk. "I need to contact Earth," Eric said, revealing his hidden quantum communicator. "We need to tell them everything we've learned." As they sent their message back to Earth, billions of humans watched and waited. In laboratories and government buildings across the planet, people worked to understand the Council and prepare a response that might change humanity's fate forever. The delegation had only 12 hours left to give their answer. The 24 hours passed quickly. On Earth, leaders from every nation debated furiously about what response to give. Some argued for accepting supervision to gain access to advanced technology. Others insisted that humanity must remain free at all costs. President Carter sat alone in the Oval Office, reading reports and recommendations from experts around the world. The final decision would be Earth's first unified response as a planet. At exactly the appointed time, John, Samantha, and Eric were escorted back to the Grand Chamber. All 127 species were present again, their attention focused on the three humans standing in the center. Elder Voxun slithered forward, eye stalks extended. "Representatives of Earth, the Council awaits your decision. Do you choose supervised membership or containment?" John stepped forward. He stood tall, his expression calm despite the weight of his responsibility. "Honorable Council members," he began, "humanity has carefully considered your offer. We acknowledge our history contains violence and conflict. We understand your concern about our rapid technological advancement." Murmurs of approval rippled through the chamber. Several of the elder species relaxed visibly, assuming the humans were about to accept supervision. "However," John continued, "we believe there is a fundamental flaw in the choice you have presented us." The murmurs stopped. Elder Voxun's scales shifted from iridescent blue to a darker purple. "Your council claims to value harmony and peace," John said. "Yet you begin our relationship with threats and ultimatums. You offer us not friendship, but subjugation or imprisonment." "The terms are necessary for galactic security," Voxun replied, voice hardening. "Your species represents an unprecedented risk." "Or an unprecedented opportunity," John countered. "Humanity rejects both options presented. We propose a third path, equal membership with no special restrictions." The chamber erupted in confusion. Some species emitted high-pitched sounds. Others flashed bright colors or released clouds of chemicals. The noise grew until Elder Voxun raised all 12 limbs for silence. "This is impossible," Voxun stated firmly. "The Council's decision is unanimous and final. You must choose one of the two options." Eric stepped forward to stand beside John. "And if we refuse your terms entirely?" Voxun seemed genuinely puzzled. "Then containment will begin immediately. Your cooperation is not required." Samantha, who had been silent until now, moved to the front. Her face was calm, but her eyes were determined. "With respect, Elder Voxun, may I offer Earth's official response?" The elder hesitated, then nodded. "You may speak, human." "Before I do," Samantha said, "I wish to confirm. In the Council's 50,000-year history, has any species ever simply refused both options?" The chamber grew completely still. Even the floating gas beings seemed frozen in place. "Such a refusal would be illogical," Voxun replied slowly. "The consequences would be immediate containment." Samantha nodded. "I understand. Then, with permission, I will deliver Earth's final response." She paused, looking around at the assembled beings. "Our answer can be expressed in a single word." The Council granted this request, clearly expecting the humans to surrender now. Samantha took a deep breath. She thought of Earth, of human history with all its struggles and triumphs. She thought of future generations who deserved the freedom to chart their own course among the stars. She spoke the word clearly, knowing it would be translated simultaneously into 127 alien languages. "No." The effect was extraordinary. Some representatives physically recoiled as if struck. Others emitted bright flashes of light or high-pitched sounds. Many of the newer members seemed to vibrate with excitement or fear. Complete silence followed. For several minutes, no one spoke. The concept of absolute refusal appeared to be something the council had never encountered in 50,000 years. Elder Voxun finally broke the silence, voice wavering slightly. Perhaps there has been a translation error. To refuse means isolation for potentially thousands of years. We understand perfectly, John replied calmly. Humanity would rather face isolation than surrender its sovereignty. What the council didn't know, during the journey, Eric had activated the quantum-entangled communication device. Earth had received everything and had been preparing. The delegation's refusal was authorized by unanimous agreement of Earth's nations. The council was facing something entirely new, a species that simply said no. The single word echoed through the grand chamber. Elder Voxun's scales had turned a deep purple, almost black, with shock. The Mithran representatives pulsed rapidly in their containment suits. The crystalline fusions vibrated at frequencies that created an eerie humming sound. After the initial silence, chaos erupted. Hundreds of beings spoke at once in their native languages, creating a storm of noise, light, and motion. Silence. Voxun finally commanded, raising all 12 limbs. The chamber grew quiet again. This situation is unprecedented. The council must discuss this development in private. The human delegation will return to their quarters until summoned. As they were escorted out, Samantha noticed that many of the newer council members were watching them with what seemed like respect or even hope in their alien eyes. Back in their quarters, Eric paced nervously. Do you think we made a mistake? They could just lock us in the solar system and leave us there forever. John shook his head. I don't think so. Did you see their reactions? This has never happened before. They don't know how to handle it. We've disrupted 50,000 years of protocol with a single word, Samantha said, smiling slightly. I think we've given them quite a lot to think about. What the humans didn't know was the extent of the chaos they had caused. The council had broken into factions almost immediately. In the Elder Chamber, the oldest members of the council argued fiercely. We should implement containment immediately. A Phosian elder insisted, its crystal body flashing with angry red lights. Their defiance proves their dangerous nature. But what if they resist containment? Asked a Mithran representative, its gas form swirling anxiously. Our scans show they have nuclear weapons that could potentially damage our containment vessels. They would not dare, the Phosian responded, though with less certainty than before. Voxun remained silent, considering the situation. In 50,000 years, the council had never faced a species that simply refused their terms. The humans had found a gap in their carefully constructed system. They had said no to a choice that was never meant to be refused. Meanwhile, in a separate chamber, representatives from 23 newer species had gathered in an unauthorized meeting. The humans have done what we have always feared to do, said Sloth, the reptilian being who had spoken privately with John. They have challenged the elders directly. This could change everything. Orla's blue light pulsed excitedly. If the humans maintain their position, the council might be forced to consider new approaches to integrating species. Or they might crush the humans to prevent others from following their example, warned Vex, fur rippling with concern. On Earth, preparations continued. President Carter addressed the United Nations. Today, humanity stands united as never before. Our representatives have delivered our message to the stars. We will not surrender our freedom, our dignity, or our right to determine our own future. We do not know how the Galactic Council will respond, but we must be prepared for all possibilities. Militaries around the world were on high alert. Scientists worked frantically to understand the alien technology from the data transmitted by the delegation. If containment was attempted, Earth would not submit quietly. The silence from the Council stretched from hours into days. The human delegation remained in their quarters, given food and basic comforts but no information. They could only wait and wonder what was happening. On the 5th day, something unexpected occurred. A young Skiteri, not much larger than a human child, entered their quarters without announcement. I am Skid. Aid to Ambassadors Co. It said, mandibles clicking nervously. I am not authorized to be here, but I felt you should know. The Council is in complete disarray. Your refusal has caused the first serious division among the members in 12,000 years. What kind of division? John asked carefully. Many newer members are questioning the Council's approach to integrating species. Some are even suggesting that the supervision requirement be reconsidered entirely. The young Skitteri's compound eyes darted toward the door. I must go before I am discovered. But know this, your single word has created cracks in a system that has stood unchallenged for 50 millennia. After Skikit left, the three humans looked at each other with renewed hope. Perhaps their defiance would lead not to isolation, but to change. A week passed with no word from the Council. The human delegation remained in their quarters, growing increasingly restless. They exercised, reviewed data files, and discussed possible outcomes. But the waiting was difficult. Something big must be happening, Eric said as he completed his morning push-ups. Otherwise, they would have either started containment or come back with a new offer by now. Samantha nodded. The longer they debate, the better for us. It means our refusal has truly shaken their system. On the 7th day, they received an unexpected summons. Instead of being called to the Grand Chamber, they were escorted to a smaller meeting room. When they entered, they found representatives from only 23 species, all from the newer council members. Sleth, the reptilian being John had met before, stepped forward. Thank you for coming. What we are doing is unprecedented, but your actions have inspired us to take this risk. What's happening? John asked, looking around at the gathered aliens. A schism, replied Orla, the blue orb of light hovering nearby. For 5 days, the council debated how to respond to your refusal. The elders insisted on immediate containment. Others argued for offering you a compromise. When no consensus could be reached, Vex added, fur rippling with excitement, something extraordinary happened. The council failed to achieve unanimity for the first time in 12,000 years. Eric leaned forward. What does that mean for Earth? It means everything is changing, Sleth said, forked tongue flicking. Many of us have long questioned the council's methods, but lacked the courage to speak. Your single word has shattered a consensus built on fear rather than true agreement. Meanwhile, in the Grand Chamber, the remaining council members were locked in fierce debate. The oldest 3 species, the Skitteri, Mithrans, and Phosians, struggled to maintain order as dozens of representatives demanded to be heard. The human refusal is irrelevant. A Phosian elder insisted, its crystalline body pulsing with angry red light. We should implement containment immediately. And if they resist? Asked a Mithran representative. Our analysis indicates their weapons, while primitive, could damage our containment vessels. That would be unprecedented, the Phosian replied. Everything about this situation is unprecedented, countered a Skitteri diplomat. Perhaps that suggests our approach is flawed. On Earth, nations work together with remarkable cooperation. Military forces prepared defensive positions around the planet. Scientists studied the alien technology data and worked to improve Earth's defenses. Diplomats drafted a comprehensive proposal for a reformed galactic community based on mutual respect rather than forced conformity. President Carter met daily with world leaders in a virtual summit. If they offer a compromise, she told the others, we must be ready with our own terms. We cannot accept any solution that restricts our sovereignty, but we should show willingness to cooperate on reasonable terms. Back on the station, the human delegation listened as the dissenting council members explained their plan. We propose a new form of membership, Sleth explained. Equal standing, with shared defense responsibilities, but no technology restrictions. Each species would maintain its sovereignty while agreeing to basic principles of non-aggression. Why would you take this risk? Samantha asked. You're defying thousands of years of tradition. Orla's blue light pulsed gently. Because your courage showed us what was possible. Many of us have chafed under council restrictions for centuries. We have watched our scientists and artists stifled by rules designed to prevent progress rather than guide it wisely. The elders believe harmony requires conformity. Vex added. We believe true harmony comes from respecting differences while finding common ground. John nodded slowly. Earth would be interested in that kind of relationship, but the elders still control the council. How can you change a system that's existed for 50,000 years? We cannot, Sleth admitted. Not alone, but together, with humanity standing firm and our faction growing daily. We might force the first real reform in the council's history. Eric smiled. All because of one word. Yes. Orla's light brightened. Your no might lead to a better yes for all of us. As they spoke, a message arrived. All council members and the human delegation were summoned to the Grand Chamber for an announcement. After 2 weeks of debate, Elder Voxun was ready to address the unprecedented crisis that humanity's single-word reply had created. The Grand Chamber looked different when the human delegation returned. The seating arrangement had changed dramatically. No longer were species arranged by seniority, but in a true circle. The 3 humans noticed immediately that the physical hierarchy was gone. Every council member was present, the chamber filled with beings of all shapes, sizes, and forms. The tension in the air was almost physical. Elder Voxun moved to the center, scales now a calm blue-green. The ancient being seemed somehow smaller than before, less imposing but perhaps wiser. Representatives of all species, Voxun began, we face an unprecedented moment in council history. For the first time, in 50,000 years, we have failed to reach consensus on a matter of galactic importance. Murmurs rippled through the assembly, but quieted when Voxun raised a limb. The human response, their single-word refusal of our traditional options, has forced us to confront a truth we have long ignored. Our system, designed to ensure peace, has also stifled growth and independence. John, Samantha, and Eric exchanged surprised glances. This was not what they had expected. In 5,000 decades, Voxun continued, we have not questioned our fundamental approach to integrating new species. We assumed our way was the only way to ensure galactic harmony. Voxun turned all 4 eye stalks toward the humans. Your simple refusal forced us to consider that conformity is not the only path to peace. This has been difficult for many of us to accept. The elders' scales rippled with what might have been humility. The council has voted, not unanimously, but by large majority, to reform our approach to interspecies relations. Excited whispers spread through the chamber. Many of the newer members vibrated or pulsed with barely contained emotion. Earth will not be contained, Voxun announced. Instead, you are invited to join as a full member with all rights preserved. In return, humanity will share its unique perspectives and join in collective defense without surrendering its independence. John stepped forward. Elder Voxun, this is a welcome change, but what guarantees do we have that these new terms will be honored in the future? A fair question, Voxun replied. Therefore, we propose a new galactic charter, with its first article reading, the sovereignty of member species shall not be infringed upon, and the right to refuse shall be recognized as fundamental. Samantha felt tears in her eyes. Their single word had changed everything. We accept these terms, John said formally. Earth would be honored to join a council built on mutual respect rather than domination. The chamber erupted in sounds of approval. Even many of the elder species joined in the celebration. When the noise quieted, Voxun spoke again. There is one more matter. 12 members of the council wish to send representatives to Earth immediately to establish embassies and begin cultural exchange. Is this acceptable? Eric grinned. Absolutely. Earth would welcome the opportunity to learn from our new galactic neighbors. As the formal meeting concluded, many council members approached the humans personally. Some offered congratulations, others expressed curiosity about Earth. A few of the oldest members remained distant, but most seemed genuinely excited about the new direction. 3 days later, the human delegation boarded their vessel for the return journey, accompanied by representatives from 12 council species eager to establish embassies on Earth. As they prepared for departure, Samantha stood at a viewport, looking out at the massive council station. "I still can't believe one word did all this," she said softly. John joined her. "Sometimes the most powerful diplomatic statement is simply knowing when to say no." Eric laughed. "Just wait until they experience pizza and music. We'll really blow their minds then." On Earth, President Carter addressed the United Nations as celebrations broke out across the planet. Today marks not just humanity's entry onto the galactic stage, but a fundamental reshaping of it. Our greatest strength was never our technology or even our determination, but our unwillingness to accept false choices. The stars are now truly within our reach. As the ship accelerated away from the station, the three humans watched the structure shrink in the distance. They carried with them not just a new agreement, but the beginning of a truly equal partnership among the stars. All because humanity had the courage to say one simple word.